I am so happy we could sit down and have this conversation, girls.
Same.
It is so exciting to be here and to really talk about things that are so personal to us, but also so important for our communities, no?
Yeah, especially for me because I didn't expect coming in here to have, people, like-minded people who I'd get to talk about these things with. So fun times.
Exciting.
Yeah, like this is a great venue for us to share our personal experience, right? So can't wait to tell it to everyone.
Yeah, so speaking of personal experience, we are here, of course, to kind of talk a little bit more with each other about the LGBTQ plus community,
Yes.
our hopes, as well as kind of looking back at everything that has happened and where we see ourselves going. So for you, like, what was your story in wanting to be part of our discussion?
Well, personally, I've always used my social media accounts to be open about basically my sexuality and my relationship. So, surprisingly, I got really positive feedback. So many people
So cute.
supporting me. And that's what really drove me to dive deeper into this conversation because while I get, let's say, 97% positive remarks, sometimes there are still very few remarks that contradict what I believe in and what I fight for. And so that's when I realized that the conversation we might be having a good feedback from everyone and we might be more open about it already, and yet there are people who choose to still say discriminate behind closed doors and they might not be so vocal about it,
Or
but the
even not
belief
behind closed
systems
doors, but like
still
very
there.
much on
Yes.
like a public. And I think you're also very lucky in that sense that it's only 3%. It feels like.
Yes,
And I
because-
also think like because you're so open about your sexuality and you claiming that, people are inspired by that. And it's very hard to show hate towards something so beautiful,
Yes.
right? And I love that you're using your platform in that way because
Thank you.
visibility is so important. And you are
Yeah.
also promoting visibility.
I am.
It's so
Well,
amazing.
yeah, I can't wait to share it to you guys. So, yeah, I've said it before that I am an ally to this community.
Mhm.
And I have so many friends who are a member of the LGBT community. And they've always wanted me to be the best version of myself, and then, they've been always there to support me to whatever decisions that I've made to my life, especially joining Miss Universe. So I just want to share this personal experience. So recently, just like months or like a month ago, before joining this competition, like I was bashed that I look like a trans woman now in some of my photos, but I don't find it offensive
Mhm.
or I'm not ashamed about it. Rather, I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're calling me names as if I look like a trans woman, as if it is a bad thing,
yeah,
right?
As if being a trans woman is shameful.
And
Yes,
let's say
you
trans,
know,
maybe
that's where the problem is.
transformational.
Transformational, yeah.
Yes.
And then I have huge respect for this trans woman. Like they've been so much in life, so many challenges they've hurdled, and I can't imagine. And
Just the power to live
yeah, just a sort of
authentically.
like from insults to ridicule to harassment and making them objectifying them like a laughing stock in the community. So it's just so like painful.
No,
I know.
but I love that you're here also
Yeah.
because of your friends and your family members who identify as part of the community. Because
yes,
I think like with the community, the beautiful thing about being a part of the LGBTQ plus community or an ally is that it's about living authentically, and that's for everyone, right? And so as an ally, that's so important to share that what you've learned and what you continue to hope to learn. And yeah, as a bisexual woman myself, like I've definitely felt that. And my allyship really started at a young age because I remember seeing my friends and my family that identified as part of the community. And I was just thinking, the whole world is against you, right? Society will tell you that's not right. The church will tell you sometimes, people in your life, and still you choose to love who you love. And I always thought that was so brave, even at a young age. And I think that's probably more powerful is because as kids, we're not taught to discriminate. We really aren't. It's
True.
something that's
I agree.
learned. And for you to be here because you are inspired by people who choose to live authentically, like Claire, or even like myself.
Like
Wow.
you, three of us.
All of us. It's not an LGBT plus issue. It's an
It's a
issue.
universal issue.
It
Yeah.
is.
Agree.
It's about celebrating inclusion and
Yes.
the power there is in going against the norm and just living your life the way that you really want to.
And I also really like to say that, so like I said, I wouldn't say, for the lack of a better word, clout. I get
You get
good
support.
attention. I
Yeah,
get
you get
support from
support.
people because they like seeing me with my partner. They enjoy me living authentically and just, sharing some parts of my life that some people can share when it's part of theirs. And so I was thinking, maybe if I'm not out, maybe if this isn't really something unique to me, that I'm open, that I'm out, open to my family, open to my friends. I feel like I always say that I look forward to, the time when something that I do isn't so extraordinary anymore.
I love that. And like that difference also between tolerance and acceptance, because often when we think about like gender, there is still that lack of understanding even between gender versus sex. Like what really is the
Yes.
difference,
Yes.
right? Gender is that the culturally ascribed characteristics that we put onto
Yes.
people, and to live outside of that box on you are a woman, so you should only do this. You are a man, so you should only do this. When we have those judgments on other people of what they should be doing and they don't do that, that's when the discrimination starts.
Yes.
That's when that, like, it can manifest in so many different ways.
Yeah,
and
agree.
like, I know you've seen your friends go through that as well, right?
They do. Amidst the improvement of the acceptance of our community, LGBT, I would like to say our community. Yes.
Because being an ally is being part of the community.
Yeah, I know, right? Stigma, violence, and discrimination will always be the reason or why this young LGBT find it very challenging to open up, to express themselves,
Yes.
right? Because of this, being discriminated. And they find it so hard to seek help, especially on HIV treatment, education.
So I'd like to ask you, Callie, what was your experience that really encouraged you to, to be here to discuss this and choose gender as your focus?
Well, my advocacy really is gender-based violence
Mhm.
because I was a survivor of
Mhm.
abuse myself,
Mhm.
but I had realized that it's not just women that face that abuse. It's really people that are discriminated because of their gender. And I think as a feminist, or feminist in progress, because we're all learning, we're all trying to grow, you cannot be a feminist without including trans women, without including bisexual women, without including women of all different backgrounds, because then your feminism is not intersectional. It needs to be intersectional, it needs to be intentional, and it needs to be international. You have to think about people all over the world. And pageantry itself can really capture what we want out of our society, can capture where we're headed. And it's really been so powerful in showing what women are capable of, including trans women.
Yes, and especially the new owner of the Miss Universe organization is a trans woman.
Yes.
And that's really powerful. That it echoes so much of what we are trying to fight for. And it's just really I'm just really happy that the community is being represented. And while we're at it, it's a great opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, and I think also not just talking about it as sisters, but also looking at where we can go from here. Because we've had to unlearn a lot.
Yes.
We've had to kind of unlearn some behaviors that are transphobic.
And sometimes it's even harder to unlearn things because that takes, deducting our current knowledge. Unlike learning where you just add something new, it's something that we have to reconstruct.
And doing that
it
at a
takes
young age,
yes,
too.
And it takes a conscious effort.
Agree.
And that's why I think it's really also important to highlight that we should include kids in the conversation. It is our role as, as older people to teach, as adults, as older people.
We're
as
adults now. I think all of us would know.
As adults, as adults, to open up the conversation and make sure that they're part of it.
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, they're the forerunners of the future generations.
Absolutely. And, there is that challenge, like you said, but also there is that place that they're coming from, which is just love, which they're really not taught to discriminate. And they also are just so curious.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know as a kid,
Yeah,
right?
we can teach these kids, these values, acceptance, recognition, and respect will always be the better options for humanity.
Absolutely. And when we do that at a young age, it removes that stigma.
Mhm.
It normalizes the conversation, and LGBTQ plus
Normalizes
youth,
the conversation.
LGBTQ plus teenagers, LGBTQ plus adults, everyone feels safer
Yes.
to come forward because at a young age, you've created a society that is much more accepting.
Yes, a safer one, a better environment, and even seniors, LGBT seniors, they exist and they're out there, and they're still making waves for the community is just by simply being themselves and expressing their truest selves.
But still, other people find it so hard to let out, right? Even up to this day, like some
And that's the very
they're
reason
so
why we're
scared
here.
to be like misjudged. So this is the really great conversation for us to inspire everyone, especially that we are candidates of Miss Universe.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think when you have people that are promoting visibility,
Yeah.
with that goes protection, right? Because you can't have one without the other. You want to make sure that we're being seen on the pageant stage, maybe in other forms of media, but by promoting that visibility, you also talk about the different aspects of protection in our language, in our everyday actions, in education, like you said.
Yes.
And I hope that we think about the little things that we can do to make it better for everybody.
Yeah.
No?
These are little things, but when combined, it creates a compound effect that impacts so much.
And maybe what's one little thing that you really hope to do to improve or the conditions or make sure that we're doing our part?
Yeah, I would really love to tell this to the universe that someone's sexual orientation should never be an issue to the society, right? So yeah, I hope you'll get it, especially the close-minded people.
Yeah. And it sometimes feels like it's a hard job, to just say, why not just be accepting?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, we all, at least I believe that human beings are inherently good. We're just taught certain things, but we all want to respect each other because we see each other as individuals. Or I would see you as maybe this is my sister, maybe this would one day be my daughter or something like that, right? Right? And just even by respecting people's pronouns, that can be such a huge step in acknowledging not just the individuality, but acknowledging them as human beings, that I see you, you are here, you are taking up space the way you want to live your life. And there can be such power in that. So I do hope that even just by us sitting down here and having that conversation, that we can look at the small things we can do to promote acceptance.
This resonates with me as, I have someone who I love the most who can't accept me. And I think that's a really hard moral dilemma, especially when you want to be out there loving everyone around you. And while also not wanting to be suppressed from expressing the truest version of yourself. And I feel like as a candidate, I'm really happy that personally I'm also being celebrated by how I identify with. And I'm also happy that you're brought in the conversation, and you in this allyship is just very representative of what the whole community is about. It's not just the people who belong to these letters, LGBTQIA+. It's also about what role the people around these people have in order to make this a better place.
I love
for
that.
everyone.
Yes, because it's not an LGBT issue.
It's
it
not.
really is a
It
human
is
in
the
general.
whole society's issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we all have a role to play.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to continue finding out my place in this with you girls. And as well as bring the stories of the people that have struggled. I mean, when we think about how many people have lost their lives even to the struggle. Ebing Mayor, Junji Bangkiao, Jennifer Laude. Those can't be in vain.
Yes.
You want to keep moving forward. You want to take those names with you every single day and look at a more inclusive, a more accepting Philippines.
And while, we've also come a long way, the discussion, the conversation is always there. I feel like we still have a long way to go.
And I hope that we're all
Still a
putting it
long
together.
way.
No?
But at least we're doing it now. This conversation.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
As an ally.
As an ally.
And everyone can be too. You know, be active allies just like you
Yes.
are. As members of the community, we're in this together, and I so look forward to us making waves and letting everyone on the gender spectrum shine their light in the
Yes.
best way. You know?
Yes.